as usual, I am your favorite host, Jose, with your second favorite host, Fidel, and everyone's favorite guest, returning guest, Gabe Ochoa.
Hey, what's up?
So yeah, basically I just wanted to have a conversation as we lead up to Father's Day. So first and foremost, happy Father's Day,
Thank you.
And I had this idea of having conversations with people who, let me start over. So I've noticed a lot lately, like talking to a lot of my friends, whether they're in the punk scene or not, having like this, people like wanting to kind of have this need to like have this sense of self and identity that's separate from like what they do like at work or being a dad and like a husband or whatever, but like in like, I see a lot of my buddies at shows that are my age now, and everybody's having kids or has kids, has families, have careers and stuff like that. And it's a very like different approach going to shows and being involved in the scene nowadays after having like that aspect of your life change. And I don't know, I'm interested in talking to more people about like how that intersection of like punk and hardcore like culture and that life experience and those values kind of intersect with like parenting or being in like, in a family, having a family and whatnot, and we're trying to think of people who we thought could offer some like interesting insight, interesting conversations.
Yeah, definitely not advice.
Not advice, but just like insight. Everybody has like a different anecdotes that they can kind of share that might, be like a tidbit of information for somebody else,
Yeah.
Similar to like how we resonate with some of the lyrics that we hear in the songs that we love, and they're not necessarily written for us as advice, but like, something that someone else expresses in a way that resonates with us. And we're like, oh yeah, that's me,
Yeah.
I guess something like that. But yeah, dude. So, I don't know. What would be a good question to start off with? Like a good question, conversation starter.
Well, I would be interested in knowing how you got into hardcore and punk initially.
So initially I would say my cousin, Victor, who plays in a band still called, well, not still, but his newer band now, called What Would Chuck Do? That's his project he has right now. But back in 90, it had to be 94, because because I could only time it with like Kurt Cobain's death. So,
okay.
So that's like my whole like
frame of reference.
Basically, like I could like time, like, okay, I know 94 is when I was doing, whatever, but I know around that time, 94, 95, he got my brother into like Blink-182 and stuff like that, and that's kind of like our gateway into the punk thing. But in 96, my brother started going to shows, and then he came home from seeing like Bruce Lee band, Voodoo Glow Skulls, the sort of Jelly Beans or something at the barn, and he basically told my dad like, oh yeah, like it was cool, the environment's chill, whatever. And so we just went to go see the Aquabats later that year, and that was pretty much the start, I guess, of how I was exposed to a scene, the Mohawks and whatever, the ska kids.
Yeah, like the look, the uniform, the vibe.
Yeah,
the
because
culture.
that show, it was Aquabats. They say Joy Killer. I think it was. I remember Total Chaos. But
damn.
But
that's what's up.
But they say Joy Killer. I have my brother and my friend Sean. They said it was Joy Killer, not Total Chaos. But it was Aquabats, Joy Killer, Meal Ticket, Cherry Poppin' Daddies. And
damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a free show, Christmas show. So it was like a little like mix of, people or whatever. But yeah, it wasn't until I don't know, the following year we saw Whitecaps, Backside shut down Bigwig at the barn, and then that was like our total like my dad met Bill Fold, who does Coachella stuff now, and he was the one that told my dad like, oh, you have kids, bring them to whatever show you guys want, and my dad was like, well, we don't drive, and he's like, figure it out, we'll get them into. And so we just went to every single show from, I would say, I think July 97, like June or July 97 till barn closed. and we just went to just about every show. Like that was on it. You pull out a barn calendar, we were probably at that show.
That's wild.
Yeah. Like there's a couple that we missed for like, cause we don't feel like walking, from Bloomington to Riverside or whatever. But, yeah, like I was basically, I guess born into this music thing in general.
Yeah.
Like I mean, my dad raised us on Headbangers Ball. We were taking our naps as kids to Headbangers Ball, or the one that sticks out the most was Violence or King Diamond, because I would tell on my dad for listening to either one of those bands when I was a kid.
I adopted the punk, but you were born in it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would say I was more born into hair metal, thrash metal. The Headbangers Ball scene of it all. But I was just too young to know any of that.
Right.
But beyond that, Nirvana was, I guess, an easy way for me to get into, I guess, punk.
Right.
Because for the longest time I thought Nirvana was the fastest, the heaviest.
Right.
And mind you, I was already listening to like Sick of It All, Cannibal Corpse, Sepultura, but like I put on Bleach or Incesticide and I'm just like, nope, still faster, still heavier.
Still crazier in a way.
Yeah, I don't really know what it was. I mean, it could even just be the fact of like, knowing a Nirvana live show, and Kurt and Chris are wants to swing their guitars around, and they had that punk element, I guess, that or even like a hardcore element, more or less, I would think. But like, I don't know, there was more of an edge to Nirvana than I felt out of everything else, but which is crazy because Sick of It All, you watch their early music videos, especially at that time, was a Scratch the Surface was out, so those videos like Step Up or whatever, or Step Down, I was Step Up, Step Down, one of those fucking titles, but like they had like the mosh moves and the pile-ons and stuff like that, and I would still just put on Nirvana and just be like, this is still the best, this is still the fastest, still the heaviest, and like nothing could break me out of that, but it set me up for being able to digest anything that was real punk. It
was like a good segue.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because I mean they have a lot of like the elements they borrow from like everything, dude.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, even just their ethics in general, were rooted in punk ethics.
100%.
And then you got like Dave Grohl coming from Scream and the DC scene,
Mm-hmm.
so like they already had the punk,
the fundamentals,
so it made it easy. And it's funny because like you think like, oh, Blink-182, and they're like, it's Blink, there's not like, it's all fun songs, it's not like, we're not even into like the anarcho punk thing, or we know nothing about that till my brother at least got into it years later with his friend group, but that's when we were already in Bloomington, and he would be like, oh, like here's Crass, here's Exploited, and Dirt, and that's kind of like, holy fuck. And then like I didn't even give a fuck about like the US punk scene. I was just thrown right into the British wave of punk.
Same. There was a long time when I remember somebody asked me a question like, oh, like do you like US punk or like UK punk better? And then like I just remember thinking like all the songs that were coming to mind were all like UK punk songs, and I don't know. Yeah, just like that's how the trajectory worked for me as well.
Yeah, like even like, oh, here's the Ramones and Misfits. Oh, here's Sex Pistols. And you're like, this sounds way more pissed.
Yeah, this sounds like, I don't know, kind of like has like a different like attitude to it,
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
like, especially with Sex Pistols. It was just so, like, still I can listen to it and I'm just like, God, dude. Like,
and then it's just like when you hear bands like Subhumans, Crass, and the Conflict, that are like very punk,
or like Varukers.
Yeah, very punk in nature, but like they're like what they're about is not something that doesn't seem to be as organically happening at the same time from the US, It's a little bit different, like it's a little more from the streets,
Yeah, and I'm sure it was happening out here. We just weren't exposed to it, like like Casualties,
right.
It was happening, but it was just like, I mean, I guess it was happening during, the whole
we have like
peak of Crass or whatever.
Exactly.
But I'm saying like when I was being introduced to all of that, casualties really weren't in our nor my brother's like radar.
Yeah, it wasn't like in your orbit.
No.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, like Total Chaos was probably like as like super punk as it got.
Yeah.
But to me, it still didn't have that edge of like a Discharge or like a Exploited or something.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
or like a Press Logic, type shit. Like, I don't know if you remember that band.
No, I don't.
Like they're from the Bay or whatever. But like, yeah, we used to see them back in the day too. But yeah, so like it was happening, but it's just we were as exposed to it, or because it was here.
Yeah.
It just wasn't like as like special,
Yeah, or I mean, maybe there was just like more shit going on over there at that time, or more of those bands were like talking about it. I gravitated myself towards a lot of that stuff as my trajectory progressed, like through like that same like avenue, because I mean, it seems to me like Nirvana and Blink-182 are always kind of like those gateway bands.
Yeah.
Like for a lot of people I talk to.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, like it's still to this day, yeah. Like those are all like what bands got you into punk. Everybody's always like, oh, Misfits, Ramones. It's always kind of like a given, right?
Yeah.
But I always hear commonly Nirvana and Blink-182. Yeah. Because it was Blink-182 for me.
Yeah.
I found Nirvana later, but
my brother as well. It was Blink-182. That we're still talking like a Cheshire Cat.
Yeah.
Like they came to conquer Uranus era stuff.
Yeah.
Or Lemmings, all that.
The good shit, dude.
My cousin even had he had the I think it's called Take Flight or Flight, something with Flight. It was a Revelation compilation, and that one was also kind of like special in a sense of like hearing everything from Revelation Records, from like Engine Kid and Shai Hulud or Far Side, then you're hearing like this mix of like hardcore and post-hardcore, but like me not understanding like
what the difference is.
Yeah,
it didn't matter.
Yeah, to me, it was just like another form of punk.
Yeah,
So we go to his house and like listen to those compilations or whatever, and yeah. I mean, I guess to sum it up, my cousin Victor was the one that was like, "Here's this." My brother and his friends were like, "Here's all that," and it was just kind of like it just set us up, for ska, I guess, because ska is what got me into hardcore.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, Link 80, specifically Link 80.
What was it about that band?
They had breakdowns, but in they do a song Dime Store Hoods off 17 Reasons. They do Earth Crisis's Firestorm. Like,
shit!
Rendition of it, I guess, in the middle of the song. And I remember just not knowing who Earth Crisis was at that point, but hearing that and just going like, what was that? Like, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
I want more of that. And even on the end of that, I don't know if they did on every release of a CD. Some CDs have secret songs, some don't.
Yeah.
But they do a cover of Harvester of Sorrow from Metallica.
Bro.
And I mean, I'll be crucified for this. Like, I prefer to listen to the Link 80 version over like the Metallica version. Even they're both good, but Link 80's version, I mean, something with the horns just adds like this extra, like, I don't know, heaviness, which is weird to put like, oh, all these horns,
Yeah.
But it just adds so much more to it.
It sounds counterintuitive, but something about it just makes it more powerful.
It just hits.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Dude, it hits. But yeah, Link 80 was specifically the band that like really made me go like, I want more of whatever that is. And then finding out that like, oh, that's called hardcore.
What was the first band that you immediately gravitated to after that moment?
I would think Straight Faced.
Okay.
They had an album called Broken I used to see Straight Faced at the barn a lot. I mean, I feel like once a month they were at the barn, and that album Broken was just so good. Like for, I guess, an impressionable me, like just wanting to know like what hardcore was and whatever. But yeah, Straight Face, this band Hamper from Riverside, they were like a hardcore punk band where like the singer would like jump off. He would like do front flips. Like they'd start, they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he'd just fly off the stage, And I remember just thinking like, yeah, man, this band's fucking awesome. And I mean, it's probably it was funny because they probably aren't like as hard as I remember, but like I'm like 12, 11, about 12. I had to be like 11, 12ish area, and just thinking that like this is the most amazing thing I've ever
young.
seen. And I mean there could be like 60 people, watching him,
right?
And his name is Chris, the singer, and he just go fly off the stage.
Like as if didn't matter if there's 100 or if there's 10.
No.
Oh, dude,
it's just like a great example of a band that's just,
was about it.
2 people, 200 people, all the same shit.
Yeah.
We're going off, and Hamper was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like,
that's tight, dude.
Yeah. So but Straight Face, I would say, was a big one. Shut Down was another, and then 10 Yard Fight was like another big one. Like those 3 bands were what really paved the way for me to like, I want to be hardcore. I want to be straight edge, and like, even I was already on a pathway to being straight edge.
Yeah.
It was just, and we listened to Minor Threat at that, but it just didn't hit until bands like Shut Down or 10 Yard Fight, made it mean something.
Yeah,
to
they made
me.
that connection through that moment that you enjoyed from seeing that through the lens of like a ska band.
And I think because I was witnessing it, it was like in front of my face.
Yeah.
And like Minor Threat has like its own time and place.
Yeah.
Like Shut Down, 10 Yard Fight, like that was my time and place.
Word.
And so it was easy. I don't want to say it's easy, but like it was like it made it easy to go like.
Yeah, it was accessible because it was happening.
Yeah. And I could live it,
Yeah.
I could live it. I couldn't live the Minor Threat, the 930 VHS, I can't live that, like as much as I wish I could, it's never going to happen. But at least I had my shutdowns, I have my 10 Yard Fights, my fast breaks or whatever, that I could, live, my straight edge beginnings with.
Yeah.
But,
your baptism, your straight edge baptism. That's tight.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Damn. So, you said you were like 12 at this time, dude.
Yeah.
So, like, this is your straight up lifer, dude. Like, the majority of your life has been occupied by.
Well,
like,
it started at 9.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Mad young, and then you have like, because like by the time you're telling me about like getting your introduction to breakdowns through ska music, you're telling me that you're like 12 years old, but this is already like tenure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 9 years old is mad young. You're still you're a child.
Yeah, because I saw Biohazard and Slayer when I was 9. I just didn't.
Oh my God.
You were 4th fucking grade, dude.
Yeah. My dad was like, Slayer, Biohazard are playing. I want to go. You guys are coming with me, And realistically, it was a little traumatizing, Like from the Slayer part of it all was more traumatizing as a 9-year-old.
In what way?
Just seeing dudes, just like some dudes would be walking in with a beer and just get fucking smashed. Like, people just walk up, punch him in the face, and then they're like, what the fuck just happened? This guy just walked in with his drinks and just gets knocked out as he's walking in. Like,
there's lawlessness.
Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, just the violence.
Yeah.
And we knew nothing. I think like years later going like Ozfest, then people are like, oh my God, like the neo-Nazis and blah, 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 and it's just like, dude, like I saw this shit in 95.
Yeah.
It's like I know what to expect now, but like no one gave me that warning seeing them in 95, and that one, it was like Biohazard, Machine Head, and Slayer.
That's pretty cool because like you're telling me again that like you got like this very early introduction to a lot of this stuff, and it's through your dad.
Yeah.
So your dad is the one who puts you onto a lot of this stuff.
My dad's the lifer, like in this, and my wife likes to joke, that he probably has like this this pridefulness or this like man, I can't think of the word.
Like an ego?
No, not ego. Like, he has this accomplishment as a parent.
A flex.
That like I got my kids into this shit too.
Hell yeah.
Like he sucked us in all the ways that he's also in it, like the collecting of flyers and the formats of music and the physical media type shit. Like he collects the DVDs, the VHSs, the CDs.
Damn, he's fucking about it, dude.
He has the photo books of all the flyers and ticket stubs and like all this shit. Like it all he planted that seed for my brother and I, and he still, I mean, he has a messed up knee now, so it's kind of like prevented him from
stage diving and
because he knows I'm mosh retired now. I've been mosh retired since I was 18, but he likes to give me shit. He goes, "Oh, I was still in the mosh pit when I was like 45," and like all this shit. It's just like, dude, like, it's one thing to like go like in like a slam pit or a push pit type thing,
and catching strays at a fucking piece by piece show, dude.
You ain't catching fucking spin kicks and windmills to your fucking face,
No, those are straight up haymakers to the nose.
Yeah, dude. So, and I'm sure like there was, you watch like the Toxic Waltz video from Exodus, and I'm sure like there was like a certain, or even Fear, but like you watch like those early footage of like the stage diving and all that shit, and I'm sure it was like violent in their ways, but like. And I don't know. I watch a lot of that podcast, New York Hardcore Chronicles, and they talk about like, like the fists were flying and all this shit. So I'm sure it existed in some form of way, but
it's evolved, but I call it escalated.
So I retired when I was 18. It was from all that moshing shit. But yeah, my dad still, if he didn't have a messed up knee, he would still try to be at every fucking concert he could be at. And I just took him to a concert. Last month we went to go see my cousin's band Armored Saint and LA Guns, Pentagram, Boy Hits Car, Alien Ant Farm.
Bruh.
Yeah. It was a pretty stacked lineup, dude.
That is a stacked lineup.
Pretty stacked lineup.
Did he have a good time?
Of course.
That's fucking
but
awesome.
he did have to find like a wall area where he could sit down and just chill. But yeah, if I can, it's just funny because I grew up him taking me all the shows. And then once I was driving, and especially once I started getting back into like I did my full circle of like hair metal stuff, then I was picking him up and going like, yo, like Kingdom Come's playing the whiskey, let's fucking go. Like Faster Pussycat's playing in fucking Chino Hills, let's go. So
Damn.
Then I started taking him like all those shows, and especially at the Whiskeys, which is where I'm most happy that because he didn't go to a lot of those LA shows in the 80s. So he was always at like D'Anzo and Monopolies, Showcase, Spankies and shit like that. So he never got to really go to like the whiskey. I took him to his first whiskey show.
So you remember seeing him like when you're really little, like going to shows, just not taking you yet?
Well, I didn't know anything that what he was doing as a kid.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, so it wasn't like did it dawn on you like later, like
No.
dang, like when that guy was going out, he was going to shows?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
It never dawned on me that he was
Until he started taking you.
Yeah, like like with my kids, they'll ask me like, "Oh, well, where are you going?" It's like, "I'm going to a talent show." 'Cause that's like the way like I can't be like, "Oh, show," because they think a show is just anything.
Do they know like at all about?
Yeah, now like my oldest daughter, I took her to go see Darasuum when we played No Bragging Rights a few years ago, like what 2026, so it'd be 2023ish or something like that. I took her with me to and she got to see us, and then I had my friend Sweetwater to bring her back home after we were done, because I'm like the front man or whatever. After a set, I become a social butterfly. And I'm just talking to everybody. So I didn't want it to be something where, I'm in a conversation with people and then she wants also my attention or
needs something.
So we worked it out to where, you come see me and whatever. And then,
You kind of just hang in the background and I'll come back around.
Yeah. And I would like to take her to more shows, or even my son, because my son is especially really getting into, he loves like the Clash and
hell yeah,
Cockspar, like he'll sit in his room and it's better when we wake up in the morning and he's like, "Alexa, play Train in Vain from the Clash." It's like, fuck.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
My kids are really into like Nelly the Elephant.
Oh,
You
same,
know?
same. So my son does baseball, like a little
Yeah,
league,
yeah.
whatever. And his last season, the parents were very big on like, you know what, like you do this music thing good, like let's just stick to you. And so I would just pick like Cox Bar or Nella the
Oh,
Elephant,
dude.
you know, like, or like, you know, I try to keep it like friend, like Fall Out Boy, you know, or something, you know.
No,
Panic.
dude, I go crazy. I play Power Trip, Motorhead, bro. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no, yeah. I try to keep it. I just don't do like, you know, like the country hip hop shit that's always playing there.
Yeah,
or
yeah. I
like
don't that
the Gagas or Ariana Grande's type. You know, I don't play like a lot of the pop stuff. But,
all the stuff that's really popular at those circles.
That's, you know, I'll teeter again like Fall Out Boy
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Panic at the Disco or something. But like, for the most part, if I could squeeze in like an Aquabat song, a Goldfinger,
Word.
or Suicide Machines, then I'll squeeze it in. And my son is just out there dancing, and you know he
I
loves
love
it.
that.
Yeah,
I love that. Man, that definitely ticks on some of the specific questions I had about stuff like exactly like that.
Yeah.
Because one of the ideas that brought this to mind to me, honestly, specifically through baseball, was like when my son got into playing baseball, because he plays pony, which is literally by another name, you know.
yeah,
Maybe like a little less what do you call them, handicaps, if you will.
Mhm.
But what, like, I mean, I played baseball as a kid, but it wasn't something I did for very long, because once I got hit by a ball, I was like, fuck this, you know?
That's my oldest right now. My oldest daughter. She liked doing baseball into when it was machine pitch. Once it became person to person pitch, and it was a little bit more unpredictable for her, then she was like, I hate this. Like,
I remember doing T-ball, maybe like for a year.
mhm.
And then I only remember being in a situation. I don't remember if it was a kid pitch or whatever, but I remember the ball just came at me super fucking hard as a grounder.
Yeah,
And it got me so hard, dude. And I was just like, no,
yeah. So
Not-
yes, I mean,
not-
dude, we see some of these
not
kids
for me.
get whacked with balls.
Oh, bro.
and it's sad.
But so like I just never, I don't know. I never like clicked with baseball, like the game, you
Mhm,
know,
same.
even when like my wife would say, hey, my dad's gonna inviting us out or whatever. I'd be like, oh man, that sounds like,
Yeah, it's a good time
like,
to take a nap.
sounds like suffering, right?
That's what I
Exactly.
do. My parents. The last time I went to a baseball game was like Indians and Angels playing at the Angel Stadium. My stepdad took me, and I just passed out. I was
Dude,
like,
my-
I'm just gonna go sleep.
When I was a kid, like my parents would give me a hard time, but like, why do you always bring fucking toys? You know, and it's just like, this is boring as fuck. You
Yeah.
know?
See, I never played baseball or at least like in a league type setting.
Mhm.
My dad, he worked at a sport warehouse, so he brought us. We grew up in Ontario. There was a baseball field right across the street,
Mhm.
kind of like almost like a Sandlot type life. You know, as a kid, we lived in apartments. We got all the kids, and we all used to go play across the street, and that was about it. You know, and then he did sign me up for flag football one time, and then got me out of that real fast because I kicked the kid in the face for calling me a beaner.
Fuck
As
yeah.
you should.
Of
As
course.
one should, I would
Proper
argue.
response.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Fuck around and find out.
Basically, yeah. But I was suspended for like 4 days, and that was like my punishment, was not going to the football thing or whatever. And then I just never went back. Like, I don't know if that was just out
Yeah.
of laziness, as I just went,
Yeah, it killed the
Okay.
vibe for you. Yeah,
You know,
in a way, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really remember like too much about it. I just remember him going like, okay, you're done doing all that for now, you know, since you did that crap. But I never got to do like little league baseball stuff, you know, because me and my brother were bounced around a lot as kids, so we didn't really have like stability enough to do that sort of thing. So it's awesome. It's awesome to an extent, being able to take, you know, have my kids sign up for it. It does get weird talking to people. A lot of the coaches are, you know, it's cool, but a lot of the coaches are like hardcore kids, or
Or
you know,
like, yeah,
you know,
in some
they-
way, some,
yeah.
you know,
I mean,
punk
some of them
adjacent,
are
somewhere,
hardcore
yeah.
kids. You know, like, I mean, there's people like, oh, do you know the band Sinai Beach? Or, you know, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
those are my friends. I'm like, dude, like, well, yeah, of course I know Sinai Beach. Those are my friends too. You know, all shit. So like, we do have like this, you know, this common bond or whatever. But a lot of the other parents, they're just like your regular like civilians that, like,
Yeah.
you see them on the street, you wouldn't
They-
not you give them the time of day. You know,
Like we wear band shirts, they wear like like American flag t-shirts,
or the novelty shirts.
Yeah,
So like my ADHD says or whatever, you know.
yeah, like or it's like work, baseball, and like prayer.
Repeat. 100%. Yeah.
I see it every. I see it at least 3 times a day, and then always on the weekends.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Especially they were like the prayer stuff or like the American patriotic or Trump shit. I'm just like, I don't know.
I get it. I mean, like it's funny because this has a lot to do with some of the things that pique my interest, right? Like as like why, like because I find myself in a lot of these circles and cultures that are different from what I'm familiar with, you know, and I find myself having to be like, you know, I'm me, right? I'm not going to compromise who I am and compromise my values and whatever to fit in whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? So I have to kind of like model my sense of integrity in these places that I don't necessarily always trust or feel familiar or safe in, right?
Yeah.
You know, like completely, right? So like it just, you know, it triggers things like that, the thoughts. But like one of the things that stood out to me is like, man, like even though like I don't know baseball like this, I don't really fuck with it like that or whatever. When my son was experiencing like or showing that he had like an interest in it, right? I couldn't help but to be like, oh man, like
also
like oh that's awesome. Like you find you're always you're talking about it a lot, you're watching it. It's like it's taking up a lot of your time, right? So I immediately as a parent, right? Like your instinct is to just like, oh, I want to help you with this. You know, I want to foster this thing, right? So providing him a space, and then it's just like going to baseball practice is very much the same thing as going to band practice, and preparing for a game is no different from preparing for like a show, you know. And then baseball specifically too, even lately, now that my son's been playing for a few years, like at a competitive level, like, you know, one of the most important things is like with baseball, you show up and you do your job, right? No matter what position you're in, when the ball comes to you, you just have to know what to do and be ready to do it because you've worked on it, right? And the best form of practice in those settings is just repetition. Just the same thing over and over and over and over, like in-game scenarios, right?
Yep.
So for me, that's no different from just like correct me if I'm wrong. If we're in a band together and we're jamming, we're writing music, we're all looking at each other and we're like working things out. But let's say we have a big ass show coming up on the weekend. Are we looking at each other when we're jamming, or are we like as if we're at the show, like kind of like putting ourselves like
a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both in a way, but like, you know, like you or like in a way where like when I did the DJ feature for Smoked on the thing, I only had practice with him one time.
That's insane.
Before going, right?
Perfect.
And yeah, do you know what I mean? So, and it was a matter of like, oh, everybody kind of just showed up and did their job. Everybody played their position and has worked on it, you know, in a way, you know. So like I see a lot of those types of parallels. And like how it like even though I don't know this place, I don't know this culture, I'm not familiar with this space like that. Like I know, I'm familiar with like the mechanics of like how to show up for my kid, how to do your best, you know, like how to you know, kind of think about like the bigger picture, you know, plan for those big moments and stuff, you know, be a professional and ready to do your job when you're there. You know what I mean? So a lot of those types of parallels that I see, and I'm like, oh man, like. Shout out to punk rock for like preparing me for this, even though this is something that I wasn't fucking with as a kid, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like, you know, it really, you know, kind of, I meet like people like you, like how you said, there's a dude that on my son's team right now. One of the dads, he saw me messing around with my portable turntable. And he's asking me questions, and I found out he was into like an old punk, like hardcore dude, you know? And I'm like, oh, dude, hell yeah. So we gravitated towards each other, and I put him onto some new bands and some new stuff recently. He's circled back around to me saying like, oh man, that shit was badass. I showed my buddy, you know, and he loved it too, man. It sounded just like the Beastie Boys. It's awesome, you know? And I was like, yeah, dude, you know?
So like A grade on Mojo Beastie Boys, or like What You Want Beastie Boys?
Like kind of like that transition of like being a punk band into fucking with like hip hop shit.
Yeah.
Right? I'm specifically talking about what is it, Bray and Joey Valance. I don't know if you've ever heard.
No, I haven't.
I'll show you before you leave, dude.
Yeah.
It's fire.
All right.
It's fire, dude.
Yeah, it's funny because I loved A grade on Mojo as a kid.
Yeah.
You know? And then the other day we were listening to What You Want. It came on Sirius XM or whatever, and I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna check this out. And it's like now and I used to love it as a kid back in the day. That video especially But hearing like the little fucking organs now, that it's like I don't remember like it being an organ. It's like so now I can listen to like new ears, I guess, as like I don't know. I guess now that I'm more musically like inclined with shit or whatever, or musically learned, I hear like these other elements now. I'm just like, fuck, man, like this song is pretty.
It's interesting.
Sick.
Interesting, like how you can kind of hear like when you get into like playing music or whatever, you can kind of hear things differently, like as you once did before. I'm curious to know, like, are there any like maybe like songs, records, or bands that hit different now that you've had kids?
Well, Clash.
Yeah,
is one of them. Yeah, just I never really cared. I think because they were mainstream, more or less. Again, this is way past
or manufactured in some way.
I mean, like to me, they didn't have that same edge as Sex Pistols. Even though like Sex Pistols is like a fucking gateway, hot topic, whatever, fucking mandatory punk if you're gonna be a punk type thing. But I think Clash was just too poppy for me to like really like, even like Addicts. I didn't really care about the Addicts until until I started seeing them at Showcase. Then I was like, I get it.
Yeah, it's an experience. Yeah,
and same could be like Gorilla Biscuits. Like Start Today and stuff like that. Was like, I mean, this is like a little too poppy for me. Coming from the EP and all this shit. So like, if it had like a little bit poppy edge to it, I didn't like, I just didn't really care. So Clash was like that type of band. Until my son, Stranger Things, where I guess is what put my kids onto the Clash. Train in Vain was like on one of the episodes or something.
Yeah, through the soundtrack.
Yeah, so my kids kept putting it on Alexa, and so it was just like, again, you want to, I guess foster that whole thing, or build up on like, okay, well, I'll show you more of bands, which is like how I got my son into Cox Bar. It's like, if you like the Clash, this also is very easy to digest and sing along to, and they have these catchy choruses and stuff like that. But the Clash was one of those bands that I didn't care for as a teenager. I guess for most of my adult life, I'm 41, so I didn't really care about it until about a year or two ago.
Yeah,
and now I listen to it and I'm just like, I'm gonna buy that fucking record. Like I'm gonna, so I started buying all the records of all the Clash, and I'm like, this is pretty sick. And then my mother-in-law had even bought me London Calling, or she found it rather. I don't even know if she bought it, but she found it. And this is like 5-6 years ago, maybe even longer than that. And I just kind of like spun it once, and I was like, yeah, I still don't care about it. And I got a Combat. What is that?
Combat Rock.
Yeah. And I got that on cassette at a thrift store, and I put that on. And that's the only one I still listen to. And I'm just like, God, dude, like, the singles are the only good songs on this album. Like everything else to me just still fucking is so forgettable of an album.
Hot take, man, but like I agree. I feel like the Clash for me is like one of those bands. Like I don't think like everything in their catalog is like goated.
Yeah.
Like their hits are classics.
Yeah.
For sure. Like it's not debatable, but like there's a lot of skips.
Yeah. Dude, like I grew up absolute, like, should I hate or should I go? Might as well have been the entire Red Hot Chili Peppers discography for me. If I fucking heard that anywhere, I'm like, fuck this song, dude. Like there's not many songs that I hate like that. Like Lean On Me is one of them. And a lot of Red Hot Chili Pepper songs, a lot of Sublime songs.
Celebrate.
Oh my God, dude. Like, those fucking songs, I was like, dude, like I could go on the rest of my life never hearing the song. Nirvana's my all-time favorite band. Smell Like Teen Spirit, throw it in the mix.
Yeah.
Like, like I could.
It's like small world tier.
Mm-hmm.
No shade.
Yeah.
But I'm good with not fucking with these.
Yeah. but it's funny because like now that my kids, love listening to the Clash, I enjoy. Should I go?
Yeah.
Now I listen to it. It's like my daughter is like, is it? That's Should I Go, right?
Should I stay or should I go?
Yeah. So the minute there's like a part where it goes like, it's like yes. My daughter, my oldest, she'll do that. She goes, you know, yeah, woo, you know, and like they all just fucking.
That's sick, dude.
And my youngest, who's 3, because of the other 2, get into it. The car, it's like erupts into a fucking sing along, dude. And it's just so like I grew up hating that song, and I just absolutely will go out of my way to put that song on now just to hear that. Like,
dude, your wife is driving and it comes on, and she's like, "Gabe, sit down and buckle your seatbelt." You were trying to stage dive in the backseat.
Well, you know, if you know my relationship like dynamics, my wife does not drive. You know, if we're together, I'm the one driving.
Oh, so you ghost ride the whip before you stage dive in the backseat.
Dude, man, my kids, man, I'll just put it on and they just fucking love it. You know, so that Train in Vain and Rock on the Casbah. My son's walkout music for his baseball was
Rock the Casbah. Yeah, hell yeah.
Dude.
That's tight, dude.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get my son to like I've been trying to like throw a lure, you know, for certain songs for him to use for his walk songs, and for good reason.
How old is he?
He just turned 7.
Okay, so my son's 6. Okay, so
yeah, like he likes what's dope, you know, like what's popular, like, you know, sheen, you know what I mean, like
the Travis Scott,
yeah, or whatever, you know, and like
I wouldn't even know,
like yeah, this fool's on like this fucking like sea lion shit right now, dude. It's so dumb, but like it's fun, you know. Although I'll hear him be like, I'll hear him say stuff like singing songs to himself. And I'm like, dude, you should use that as your walk song. And he's like, nah. And I'm like, oh, bro, come on, you're singing like, and it'll be something like, I love rock and roll, you know?
Oh my god,
you know, and I'm
another
like,
one,
dude.
throw it in the mix.
Yeah, that's another one. Bad Reputation's fire though. You throw that in the mix?
I wouldn't say I would throw the mix because I don't mind it, but like, yeah.
Oh,
I could do without most Joan Jett.
It's Ronda Rousey ruined it for you, huh?
Yeah. I wouldn't say that, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't help, you know, the cause, I guess, you know.
Yeah, word.
Yeah.
No, it's funny you say that, like how the way that the car erupts into like a sing along, because it's the same thing happens. Like I said, when we listen in the car to something specifically like Nelly the Elephant by Toy Dolls.
Toy Dolls, yeah.
Like especially that part when it's like and it crescendos, you know,
eruption,
yeah.
Dude.
And then they're like,
it's like, how can it not?
Yeah,
like,
and then they have those
perfect kid song.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Like it's perfect kid song. It sounds like fucking like it's made by kids, you know. And like you have like those little like those like ad lib moments, like where there's like a part in like I think the second verse when where there's like a bass hit where it goes, it's like doo doo, and like I've always either like clapped or like hit the top of the roof in the car,
yeah.
And then every time that part comes around, me and both the kids at the same time, doo doo, like in sync, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hell yeah, like you know that they've like they're in it the way I'm in it.
Yeah,
you know?
I usually try to find. I can't think of a song right now at the top of my head that if I'll start clapping. If there's a part, you know, that has clapping, like maybe like Coxbar, you know,
okay,
because they love like you got my number, but fuck man, there's one song that England is England belongs to me. Yeah, the end part, dude, you could fucking
you better believe it.
Yeah, because even the beginning, it's you know has that. So
what's
like,
that? Yeah,
you know, like so it's easy for the kids to like really grab onto that type of shit, but I'm always looking for shit like that to listen to with the kids. It was great too. The other day, my daughter, they just had their last days at school.
Same.
This Friday, and they brought back like all like their like all about me, you know, 3rd grade about me type things. And my oldest specifically, I guess, brought back her pamphlet thing, and it's like favorite artists. It says Oasis and The Clash, and it's like fuck yeah, dude.
That's sick.
You know, because most mornings she's listening to like Ariana Grande and all that type of shit. You know, all the mumble rap crap, I guess. And I love that on the spot, the first things that came to her mind was Oasis and The Clash.
That's badass.
Hell yeah.
Because it's like, I watched, there's a guy on YouTube, Rick Beati or something like that. And he's like a producer or something, but he does a lot of like interviews with like, a lot of like the older rock star dudes and all this stuff like that. but he complains a lot. He makes these complaint videos about like the top artists of Spotify and shit like that, and he'll go down the list. Here's the top 10 of, you know, whatever. And he'll go through every song and he's just like, this is garbage. This is garbage. Like, no one's going to remember this shit in 10 years. Like,
Yeah.
no one care. No one's going to care the way like people care about Fleetwood Macs, you know, the Oasis or Bob Dylan's and shit like that. Like the shit
Timeless classics.
the shit that's actually timeless.
Yeah.
So like you got these Travis Scotts or these what's the fucking the extension
Yeah,
or
Extension, whatever.
yeah, like there's people die and they're like, oh fucking go da 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 da, and it's just like here we are 10 years later, no one brings up these fools, you know, like
Yeah.
no one fucking cares, and I love that. On the spot, my daughter goes Oasis and the Clash. My son, his cram box. We went to a parent conference meeting a few months ago, and on his crayon box, he scribbled down Queen, The Clash, you know, on his crayon box. And this is like, what the fuck? Like,
That's tight.
you know, like, I mean, he is just in his own bubble. I mean, in general, he went from like loving like those like Imagine Dragons, that song, You Make Me a Believer, Believer. Yeah, oh dude, he would blast that in his room for so fucking many days. And then it'd be like Panic at the Disco. I can't remember the song right now off the top of my head. But then, you know, my wife was like, oh, here's a Blink-182 song. And then every day it was Blink-182. And then it started, you know, going more toward like the Clashes and all the shit and the Cox bars and stuff like that. And then it was like that. And then now he's like, I don't like Panic at the Disco. I don't like that, you know, I don't like Make Me Believe. I don't like Post Malone anymore, Dad. Come on, you know, and it's just like, fuck yes, dude. Like,
Hell yeah.
Like my wife likes to say like this, the feeling that I feel is what my dad feels probably.
Yeah.
You know, that sense of like I did
Highlander.
It. Like I fucking did it.
Yeah,
you know,
dude.
like I finally broke one of my kids into the same shit that I like. You know, I mean, he's not into like the collecting the music, you know, because he has the Alexas and stuff. But toys, he wants all of it. If he has one, he needs the next one. He needs the next one. So my wife says, you know, like the way you are with your records and your CDs is probably the way he is with his toys. And he probably is getting the collecting because he sees the way you collect.
The way that you appreciate the value of these items and like the emotional attachments you have to them and what they mean in the bigger picture. In a way.
It's more the attachment because I don't really, I buy to keep, you know.
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
most part.
You're not engaged in like the whole buying and selling to make a money.
No.
It's your personal collection because you love to.
I
You
love it, you know.
Yeah.
And so then that's how he is with his toys. You
That's
know?
tight.
You know, he collects it,
Takes
he
care of
fucking
them in a
loves
way.
it, yeah.
Oh, that's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. That's cool to hear. I wish my kids were like that.
Yeah.
You know? I told them, I'm like, do you see how it looks in here? I wish you guys' rooms would look like this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know, and my son, his room is like that, but just with toys, Sonic, Transformers.
That's dope.
Legos. You know, like he
Fire.
he loves collecting all of them, and
That's cool.
And I try, you know, like if I have an extra $10-15 to like spend.
Hi, baby.
I go to the doctor coming right now.
Oh, really?
Back video.
Hey, Naraya.
Say hi. This is Gabe.
Hi.
Hi, Gabe. I go to the doctor coming.
Dr. Pine. Get outta here.
I go to the doctor right now. I go leave right
Kick
now.
rocks, nerd.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah, they just got back from my in-laws.
Oh, okay.
Fish tacos.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm on an on and off. What's up, guy? Oh, he has a little mullet.
Yeah, he's got the baseball cut.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he's got the drippy shorts.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice.
Come over here, dude. Come here. Say what's up, dude.
Let's see the fit.
This is Gabe.
What's up, dude? Oh, I like his little curly hair, little in the back too. That's sick.
Yeah. We had a double header today, huh? Yeah? Did you have fun? You had fun? Hell yeah. All right, kick rocks, nerd. All right, cool.
It's funny.
Yeah, I have no idea what he said.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's usually like that. I'm like,
100%.
I'm like, oh yeah, dude, that's awesome, dude. Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
He said, bye, daddy. Love you.
Oh hell yeah! It's only because the microphones are on. Otherwise he ignores me. No, that's cool. So like, they're definitely like they're kind of. It feels like that they're kind of picking up on like a lot of the way that you approach like your interests.
Yeah.
You know?
In a different way.
But in a different way.
Yeah.
It may not be the same interest, but like they're learning how to engage with it and appreciate it the way that you do. Yeah, and that's kind of like how I approach the whole like baseball thing. Even with like his bag, I tell him it's the same thing as like my gear bag and stuff like that. I was like, bro, I have it in the same spot, and I don't, I make sure anything that comes out of it, I put it back all the way it's supposed to go. Take care of it. It'll take care of you. Same kind of thing, like, and even though it's not like a guitar and a pedal board, it's a bat, batting gloves and a sliding mitt. It's the same shit,
it's the same. Like, I'm doing all my runs right now because I'm getting show ready or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I try to like, in a way to tell my kids like, oh, the way you practice, like, this is how I practice, like this is me getting game ready. Going on my runs, getting my diet together, and like, all this shit. That way,
drinking honey with your tea.
Never. Dude, I stopped doing the honey tea thing years ago. I've evolved it to just cough drops.
Yeah,
just Halls.
Just
honey Halls, water, a lot of water, because I don't drink water on stage. It's only before we play, I just chug, a couple bottles of water, Halls, and then do my vocal warm-ups, and that's it. Because I feel like my voice, it sounds better when it's not constantly being
put to work.
hydrated.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah, it's like Nurgle from Behemoth. A long time ago, I read an interview that he drinks Coke before he plays a show. To me, I was like, fuck no,
what
dude.
The fuck?
Like, all the carbonation and like, to me, it's like, but like, I guess how you record, I guess it was Coke. But like, to me, it's just like, fuck no, dude. Like, my voice would never even come out.
Yeah.
If I was drinking sodas, cold waters, like nothing like that.
Yeah, for me, I definitely need like some sort of like liquid, of course. But there's like vocal techniques that you do, like exercises that I think matter, because if like straight up, like another one of these things, like as you get older in punk, like a lot, like having to wear hearing protection while you're at a show or playing. Yeah, me too. And I realize now I'm like, oh shit, I should have been doing this a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, I don't do it when I perform. I can't do it.
Me either.
I need to hear myself. Even at practices, like band practice, I will keep the earplugs in up until it's my time to practice with the band.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, I'm
full. It's like even the worst because I'm like the cymbals and shit are like right here. Right behind me. So it's probably not a good thing, but yeah. I mean, at this point, there's not a lot of shows happening now since Chain Reaction's closed.
Or shows like that. Yeah.
So my ears are finally getting some form of like healing.
Yeah.
Like my ears
finally recovering.
Oh yeah, like the ringing, is like not as present.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So, dude.
That's how I feel after I started wearing hearing protection.
Yeah. But I do. If I go to a show now, I'm usually I have a little canister thing that hangs on my keys and. I could unscrew it and plug the earplugs in and shit. So.
Same, yeah. That's the little tube hanging from the guitar right there.
Okay, yeah.
Same, and then like like in vocal techniques, because if you just scream into a microphone, dude, you can like hurt yourself,
Yeah.
Like, and it just kind of sucks having to like go back to like real life, like the next couple of days, and you're like.
Yeah.
And it sucks,
Yeah.
But there's like different techniques for different people depending on what your thing is, but like doing something is better than doing nothing, especially like, if you plan on doing this for a while.
Yeah. Well, or, like a good thing, I guess, even going back into like the whole like parenting with baseball, like, I warm my voice. I stretch my entire body and, I just do everything to kind of get ready. So when I take my son to like the batting cages, or I remind him even when he's walking up to like the base or whatever, like swing out your arms a little bit,
Yeah.
like get your arms warmed up, like shake out your legs, or
100%.
whatever, like just because you want to be able to, you want your body ready to perform too, like you gotta fucking you hit this ball, you gotta blast it first, so you don't want your body to like have that like crazy immediate shock.
Yeah.
So
and blow out a muscle or hurt yourself in the process somehow.
yeah, so I usually try to like tell him like, hey man, like try to stretch. He went running with me, we just up and down my street or whatever, but just like a little stretch.
Word.
And I had him and my oldest, like I make him stretch with me and shit like that.
That's dope. I mean, they don't realize how bad a bangover can be.
Yeah, not yet, man, not yet. But they'll learn. That.
Is there other ways that you would say like the punk or like hardcore experience or like the ethos, maybe something as so much as a DIY? Because I know you do a lot of like flyers and a lot of the graphic design stuff, and I've seen you post things about you getting down crafting with your kids a lot.
Well, you know what, a lot of that is like. I would say so. The most recently, my wife had me do. My wife is the one that helps a lot because I'm usually at work during what I would say like the homework time.
Yeah.
Because my wife gets home from her job at like 4:30 or something like that, and I'm still at work until like 5, unless if I need to work like an extra hour or something for my job. But a lot of the time is like my wife just like is already gotten a head start.
Got it.
On a lot of that. But there was one thing that my wife wanted me to help with, and that was doing a vest. So my son came home with the Trader Joe's like paperback thing, and they cut it into like be like a little like battle vest looking thing. And they gave my son a letter for the letter I. So we need to think of words with I. And I'm like, we're thinking like, oh well, infinity symbol, insects, and like, whatever. And I'm just like let's do like the integrity logo.
Yeah, you're like infest, insect warfare, instead.
Yeah, so like I'm like, incantation, like think like all these things, But we just stuck to Iron Maiden and integrity because then we realized my son has to know these words, so we can't like just.
This is not Daddy's project. He's helping.
But like it did, but I did help, with like, oh sick, like yeah, like I'll fucking cut like these fucking things out and like we'll slap them on the jacket and all this stuff. But that was like one of the things I like, my wife was like, you know what, this seems more up your alley, like and it was fun to do, but yeah, my wife is the one that does a lot of the she helps a lot with the crafts and stuff like that. And unless she sees something that like I could probably have some input on, then she'll be like, oh, what do you think? Like, oh, you can add to it or some shit, but that was the one thing where I was like, integrity, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I want that fucking skull on his left breast, then the integrity logo on the back of his vest, like
you're all like, you're like hot gluing like little pieces that you cut out into cones.
Well, she had already done all that. She set it up, right? Like with all these like little dots and stuff like that. She had already hot glued like all like the what would be like studs,
That's dope.
But yeah, dude, like shit like that. Like
is she in a punk? Or hardcore at all?
No, which I like to joke with her, that so I met her when I was like 14 and I was like 16 or whatever. So we met when we were like kids, you know, and we had like a little like puppy love stage. And but I had burnt her a CD of Bright Eyes, Juliana Theory, Junction 18, No Motive, like a little compilation like that. And Bright Eyes is what stuck with her. So
damn, you laid it on thick on that mixtape, dude.
Yeah. And so she kind of like, she was just really pulled, I guess, into like the folk stuff. So her whole thing is like, she loves like Elton John, Bob Dylan, Rilo Kiley.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Like Phoebe Bridgers, Connor, like I guess like a lot of the Saddle Creek stuff, the Faint and stuff like that. So like she was more into that. But when we met back up, this is like, I don't know, 22. I was 22 when we met back up. And Seosin were doing a Best Buy in-store performance. And I was telling her, I was like, oh, like my friend's band's playing at Best Buy if you want to go see. And she's like, I don't know who that is. And I was like, oh, have you ever heard of Circus Survive? And she's like, no. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
Like you'd love this shit.
That to me is what like this is a keeper, you know, because before that I dated like in the scene, you know, like I mean I dated what was given to me, you know, hardcore chicks into hardcore bands, and it was just, I mean, it wasn't like bad or, you know, like I'm you know, I'm not gonna knock it, but like it was just like dating myself almost, you know, like, oh, Bane's playing, we're like, fuck yeah, high five, Bane.
Hell yeah,
you know, and like it was cool, but like there was no longevity out of any of those relationships, because I mean, you come more of the power violence scene, right? Like,
like
the
punk power violence.
So I don't know like how incestuous that scene is as the hardcore scene is. You know, the hardcore scene is like everybody dates each other, and it's just, you know, it might as well just be like the 80s glam metal scene. You know,
I mean, it's no different. I mean, like, you know, you have like your group of people, you know, and then like you become familiar, and when people date each other and whatnot. I would say it's no different. I mean, like how everybody looks just looks different. I mean,
and that's just what I liked to, you know, when I met back up my now wife, you know, it was just that like she didn't care to understand my world, you know, was mine, and she was, you know, fine with just, you know, go do your thing, because she
liked that about you.
I don't know.
Like it was you and your thing that she didn't necessarily connect with, but like she like appreciated that uniqueness and thing about you.
Well, I mean, I imagine to an extent, you know, I mean, I'm sure as a parent it probably sucks, because I'm still trying, you know, I'm now a dad of 3 kids, still trying to like be a part of a 20-year-old thing, you know. But you know, it's just like she understands that it's all I kind of know. You know, I was like, I've been going to shows and concerts and shit since I was 9 years old. You know, and so it's like, you met me, I was working at Showcase Theater, like going to every fucking show then, you know. So it's like,
that's how I remember you. Like you were the dude that looked like my age that was working at Showcase.
You know, and I like to joke with her, you know. You know, I don't think she's gonna care if I say it, but like I like to joke with her saying, you changed, I didn't change, you know. I'm doing the same exact thing that I've always done, you know, what I've always known to do, you know, is go to shows, go to live music events or whatever, you know. Like, I'm not doing it with like all my friends anymore, you know. Now it's like I'm going solo, you know, to all these shows and just meeting up with people. But like, you know, it's you know, it's I don't know whether I know that she likes that I have a hobby, because, you know, I could be doing any other thing, right? I could be a fucking drunk, or I could be a fucking druggie, and, you know, whatever the fuck. And all I want to do is listen to music. I want to go to a fucking show, you know? So I could be all these other fucking things in this world, you know? I don't think what I do now isn't as bad as what...
Is there anything in like, so you're saying, because like it is all you know, right? Mm-hmm. So like that, I'm curious, like what does like your experience like in the culture and the scene like that, how does that like how has that maybe prepared you like for parenthood, or like inform the way that in which you engage with your family?
I like to think that nothing really prepares you for the parenthood part of it. You know, it's all kind of like just what I've learned anyway, as far as like going into being a first time dad anyway, you know, all the advice that was like given just was out the door, because it just, or out the window.
Everything's unique to everyone.
Exactly. You know, it's like everyone's like, oh, like you're not going to get sleep, and you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do that. And like, all I remember was my oldest daughter being a fucking angel. Never cried. She slept when she was supposed to sleep, and she slept through most of the nights, you know, like,
100%.
And so like all these, you know, and I, you know, obviously my wife probably has a different experience, because I'm sort of a deep sleeper and she isn't. So she was probably, you know, she probably hears them go like, you fucking liar type, you know, whatever. Because she was probably up a lot of the time, you know. Now my son, that's kind of where like it was kind of hard to like, you know, sleep, you know, but I feel like for the most part, like a lot of it just didn't prepare me. You know, whether I was prepared or not, it was just like I got to do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
just I don't know, the way you would just go out, you know, for a show with a band. It's like, well, the times now I got to fucking do it and just
Yeah.
do as best as I can with what I got and whatever knowledge I have. Especially like for me, where even like my wife, you know, we have similar upbringings, you know, where we're kind of like we're bounced around a lot as kids, and like both of our, you know, parents were very much in and out of our lives, so we didn't really have that, you know, this is how you be a dad, this is how you be a man, this is how you be a woman, and you know, like it was just very, a lot of it was just kind of like off the cuff of like,
Yeah.
you know, like, well, I brought this up the other day. We're talking about like education, right? My dad's approach to education was, this is your education. I finished school already. So whether you go or not doesn't affect me. That affects you. And so you tell that to a fucking 14-year-old, 15-year-old, it's just like, fuck yeah,
You're
man,
like, I'm not gonna do
fuck
this
school,
shit.
you know, like,
But he's telling you, he's been fucking facts though.
100%, because I'm 41 trying to finish my GED, you
Word.
know? And so, you know, I tell my kids now, like, yo, like, you got to care about education. I told my daughter the other day, she fell off her bike and refused to get back on it, you know? And I'm like, you got to get on it. Get on your fucking bike. Like, you don't fall off and don't not get back up and try it again. You get on it and you try your hardest to fucking not fall.
Yeah.
And, you know, she still refused to, you know, it's like, okay, well, we'll try again tomorrow type thing.
Yeah, like how do I break? So it's like, now how do I break through that mentality obstruction? You know, like because that's all mental at that point.
Yeah, you know. And I told her, you know, it's like I'm trying to finish school now, you know, because I gave up then, you know. I was like,
We're just loud.
Yeah. Like I gave up then, you know. So now I'm trying to get back on, and finish, you know, like, you know, and like, because I don't really have like, you know, anything else. Like, I mean, I could be like, I can't say like, oh, my band failed back in the day, and so I'm trying to fucking succeed now, because I'm definitely not succeeding now, you know. But like, you know, but like, you know, I try to ingrain that as hard as hell with them, you know, with all my well, the two now. My youngest doesn't really, you know, she's still just in a baby phase of like, you know, she's not really. I guess. Little things like I tell her to try to get up, you know. But you know, I do try and ingrain that in, you know, like you don't fall and give up. You get back up and try it again, type thing, you know. But like little shit like that, you know, is you know, I tried to I can't even say like incorporate that from like the hardcore punk thing, you know, because
that's just kind of a general thing. But like, are there things maybe like on how you approach like authority, you know, or like discipline in your household that are maybe influenced by like how your values?
Oh man, it fucking sucks, because you know, it always just goes back to like, I just wasn't so much raised with it, you know. I had no authority, you know. Once my dad took us back in, you know, I was already like 10 or some shit, well 9, I opened 9 because that's so much is, you know, slaying all that shit, so I was about 9. It was just like, you know, I was out causing a fucking ruckus with my cousins. My cousins lived next door to me. So we were just out breaking into places and setting shit on fire, you know.
Hell yeah. Sorry. I can't help it, but that sounds awesome.
You know, like, I mean, you know, we had no authority. You know, if anything, it set me up for the punk thing, you know, of anti-authority, you know, because I never had it, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Like having to find like the way that you navigate in like your household, like having like this natural inclination to question the status quo and to push back against the authority, you know, when it seems like it's pushing heavily on you. Yeah. And then, but like also have to maintain this authoritative figure in your household, you know, like how does, like, I'm always, because I know for me, you know, I like to give people agency, right? Like so for instance, like I'm not forcing my son to play baseball.
Yep.
Right? I give him agency over it, right? So whatever it is that he wants to do, right? It's not like a dictatorship in that way.
Yeah.
But there's also times, of course, like, when you've got to drop the hammer, and then
education,
exactly,
like,
on
shit like
important
that.
things,
Like you gotta fucking do this shit.
yeah, like where it's just like you don't understand. I know you don't understand why. I just need you to do this right now, or like you need jerky action to like you sound like you're upset at somebody, right? Because they're like walking out like out of the car through the parking lot, and you like grab them super hard. And you're like, hey, like what are you doing?
Yeah.
But it's only because like out of fear for their safety, and but like you're that person that's in that, like you're the cops now, you're the state now in a way, right? And I find myself trying to figure out like how do I where's that line for me? Like how do I raise somebody that I also want to have those values of like pushing back against like things that seem like injustice to you, but like also having like standards and like a routine, and something that like a sense of order, regardless,
Yeah. Or like building like some like moral,
like some moral compass of some kind,
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the time. So my wife is a counselor, so she went to school for all this shit. I'm very, I have the worst like gut intuition, with like a lot of shit, to me, I'm just
if it
like,
says wet paint don't touch, you touched it.
it gives you more reason to want to touch it,
right?
It's
you got to prove if it's wet or not.
Yeah, or like we see that my kids, or they will like try to touch, like, yeah, get the fuck over here. Yeah. Like I think I'm a bigger disciplinarian, out of the two, out of my wife and I definitely lay down the hammer. I'm probably kind of, if I were my kids, I'd probably think I'm kind of an asshole, because it's hard for me when things get a little too chaotic. I kind of like lose the plot.
Like, yeah.
I lose the plot of it all, and I'm just like,
it becomes overwhelming and a little bit overstimulating. Yeah,
especially with 3 kids.
Dude.
It could
Give me a lot.
it really becomes overwhelming for my own senses.
And then plus, I mean, and these are usually happening at a time when you're like already like you've done the going to work thing, you've done the holding down the fort thing, and now you have these 3 fucking knuckleheads like
this is something I could admit that I'm really bad at, apologizing. I'm
okay.
Like I really there's a couple things, I lack a lot of empathy, and I'm really bad at apologizing, and which is why my gut intuition always fucking sucks, because I can't envision myself in their shoes, what they're feeling. I'm just kind of like, I see what I see, take it for what it is, and then I probably an asshole for the most part, but fuck, man, where was I going with that shit?
No, I feel that because like I mean, I find myself like in a place where like
I was gonna say apologizing, because I suck at fucking apologizing. So let's say like I will lose my cool with my daughter or my son or whatever, and when it's time to go put him down to sleep, then I will swallow my pride or whatever fucking ego, and then I'll break it down to them. Like, listen, like, this is what I'm going through. This was how my day was. You got to understand why I snapped the way I did, and I guess I try to show like accountability,
Word.
Because I how do I say it? Like my dad, right? My dad, I feel like lacks that, so it's probably what I was just ingrained with, and he was, raised like that with my grandpa. My grandpa was a little bit on the cold side too. And, so I feel like I probably inherited that type of parenting or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I tried to, end of the night, I try not to let them go to sleep angry at me, you know,
or like with something on their mind about it
yeah,
like that,
you know,
yeah.
and I try to break it down to them, you know, like why I was the way I was, and I'll, hey, I'm sorry, you know, this is why, you know.
No, that's important because I mean, like I was gonna say, like one of the things that I value most about like being in the parental position is like now getting to have to hold those cards, right?
Mhm.
And I get to be the one to do those apologies, you know, to say those things that I didn't get to hear when it happened to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know what that felt like to be that kid, and I know what it would mean to be that kid had that moment happen at the end of the night as we're laying down for the nighttime
Mhm.
routine. So that's one thing that I feel like I try to make conscious for myself, you know, in that way, you know, like, cause
Yeah.
I mean, in the moment, dude, like, cause if you're part of your environment, bro, you know, and like your frame of reference is just like, you know, emotional unavailability or whatever. And like, you know, like, where someone now is in a position where like I make a mistake, now love is conditional, right? And if you grow up in a situation like that, you know, like I guess the responsibility for you as the parent being that kid is to turn the tables around,
Yeah.
and you know, make it important to model that sense of accountability, you know, to say like, hey, like that was wrong, you know, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be mean to you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel like that. I'm sure it was like confusing, scary, or you know,
Yeah.
hurt your feelings, but like there's nothing you can do that's gonna make me stop loving you. You know, everybody has a breaking point. Like we're all human beings, you know,
Yeah.
and then you get to have that moment of connection, you know, because like in my opinion, it's the wrong way to do it is to just be like, get the fuck out of my face.
Yep.
Go to your room, you know, and
Yeah.
then instead of seeking a connection, just completely separating the hearts further, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, you know, especially, and that's really dope to like knowing that you're the awareness of like knowing that's not something that's like you feel that you're good at doing, you know, but like
it's hard.
but you like, you know, what role you play in their lives and how like, and how important that is for them,
Yeah.
you know?
You know, and you know, it's another thing that, you know, I have to credit my wife to that, you know, because she's the one that, you know, makes me aware of like, you know, like little things like that. Like, you know,
Word.
like you can't be like that. You got to, you know, like she will like correct me, you know, or, I mean, again, she's a counselor, you know, so it's like I have my own, like my own personal therapist, you know,
Right.
by the end of the night, you know, she will like tell me like, you probably shouldn't have done that. You probably shouldn't have, you know, handled it this way or whatever. But like, you know, I really don't know other ways.
Word.
You know, it's like you know, I try to tell my kids, you know, that like, you know, mommy and daddy didn't have like mom and dad. You know, like
Word.
you know, we grew up, you know, separated. It's like, dude, like I was 15. You know, my my parents are separated. My dad is like, yeah, do whatever the fuck you want, whatever. You know, my mom trying to come back into my life, and you know, by the time I don't know, this when I was going to 2002, I guess, because that's when I was going to New York, and you know, their way of being like, well, I guess my mom's way was like support and, you know, love and all the shit was like, oh, you want to go to New York with some friends? Like, okay, if your dad's fine with it, like I'll help, you know, cover costs for you, you know.
Mhm.
And it's like where the experience for a 15-year-old, fucking incredible. You know, I had never left California, go to New York in a fucking car with friends, all travel all through the United States, go to Hellfest.
That's badass.
But now as a parent,
Word.
would you allow your 15-year-old kid to go with, okay, I went with the,
I'm driving.
I went with the,
I'm the driver of the band, dude.
I went with the merch guy of the band Scars of Tomorrow. His name was Greg.
Yeah.
We were just at a show, and he was like, "Oh, hey, you want to go to Hellfest?" And I was like, "If my parents will let me, fuck yeah." He goes, "Okay, let me know. We have a seat in the car if you want to go." And you know, I go tell my parents. both of them are just like, my dad, yeah, I guess if you want. Like,
He was like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
yeah, and my mom, just trying to like be like keep me in her good graces, at this point. She was like, that's a great opportunity. School will always be there. No. Like my parents were both on board on the same page of like, yeah, education's always there, whatever, Now, to me, that's like my I don't know, my like the way my parenting is, I guess now is that's not, I look at it now and that's like, that probably wasn't like the right move, to make for a 15-year-old to go.
So then a better way is like, it's not so much like the parts of like that culture or experience, like preparing you for parenthood. It's like the things that about it that like, the things to not do, can you like, you know what I mean? Like there's
basically
like there's like, oh, like you model how you parent after like, oh, like I want to be just like I learned how to be a parent from my dad, but I also learned how to like not be a parent for my dad. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
Like my own like personal morals, like me being straight edge is like because I learned from my parents. And like how they were as being parents to us, it's like, oh, you're like this, I don't want to be like that, so I chose to be a drug-free path into a straight edge path. Now as a parent with my kids now, it's I grew up thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be the coolest parent, I'll let my kids do this and do that. Now as a parent, I'm looking at it as like, fuck no, because I'm 40 and I still feel like I'm a fucking kid, I can imagine now as of, at 15, I felt like I was already 20, 30 or whatever, I felt like I was an adult, and seeing like especially my youngest who's going to be 9 this year. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude, like no way, dude, or watching my nephew. I take my nephew to shows with me too. I'm just like, man, like he's 18 and I look at him, I'm just like, dude, you're just a fucking baby, you know? And I was off traveling the United States with no cell phones and nothing. My communication was straight fucking postcards, and if I had change to go fucking use a payphone,
Damn.
and
or if you had a pager.
Yeah, so like I had a pager too, but like I guess now when I look at parenting, I don't look at it more of like how to be like an authority figure or like whatever. My goal now as a parent is to just give them a better life than I was given.
Word.
And my life wasn't that bad, like being, outside of like just kind of being like tossed back and forth between grandparents and then being, 10 or 9 finally, having my father, my actual father figure in back in my life, but like, I mean, that was just more or less of like a party in itself, because it was just like, no, like we'll do whatever the fuck, like you go to school, go hang out with your friends, go play your baseball. And like, my dad, for the most part, didn't even really know what I was doing once I got home from school. I was causing trouble, So, I think now, with social media, I blame more social media than anything that, kids can't be kids now because we see so much of the bad in the world and so much more in our face that it's kind of like, our kids are like on this like invisible leash for the most part, it's, like
it's hard not to helicopter parent.
Oh, 100%, dude. Like even like just going outside to ride your bike.
Yeah.
It's like, well, hold on, let me get my shoes on because I'm going to go make sure no car hits you. When I grew up, my grandparents who me and my brother lived with was just like, yeah, the bikes are in the backyard. Like, go ahead, just,
Yeah, I've almost died several times as a kid. Like riding my bike in the street, dude. You know what I mean? And like my parents, like I'd come back, and they'd be like, oh, sick. Like, still alive. I'm doing a great job.
Stand By Me, Sandlot was a great representation of like what it was like for us as kids.
And you know what? And I think a lot of that has to do with like those are both period pieces that take place around the same time, and those are both around the time periods in which our parents grew up. So they're influencing a lot of it. So like my parents would they weren't like very like off leash, I would say, but like I had a pager. Street lights came on.
Yeah.
come home kind of
Same,
thing,
yeah.
like stuff like that. Like, but otherwise, like, there's a lot more trust, like, and then like general society,
Yeah.
yeah, nowadays, like, it's kind of harder to, to feel that way.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's so much harder, I guess. Like, the again, social media, the way everything's just so in your face. Everything is a fucking danger.
Yeah.
It's just fucking red flags all over the fucking place. Like, no, nope. Like,
Yeah, and then the algorithms created to put things in your purview that are supposed to grab your attention.
yeah,
So it's like not only is it like always accessible, but it's looking for you.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
yeah. So like, I guess I'm always like more on high alert now with just the surroundings of the world, and again, it sucks because like, I try to think of like me as a kid and like how, like I more or less wish my kids could grow up the way I did, with all the kids on the block getting together and doing all this shit, but it's like realistically, it's like, fuck, dude, you don't know who you can trust. Some of these parents are fucking, they can be fucking weirdos, and that's just always in the back of your fucking head of like, And
then you see like some of these crazy people who like are just out in the road, like being inconvenienced by someone.
Yeah.
And that's grounds for them to be hateful, if not violent.
Dude, like even like, I watch a lot of serial killer shit. So like, like BTK, who was like a fucking pastor,
fucking youth group leader and shit or whatever,
So it's like, man, like, do I want to ever send my kids on like a fucking retreat? Like,
I feel the same way, dude. And like, I mean, bro, like my relationship with Jesus is like mad locked in, right? But like, I'm super weird about indoctrinating my kids.
Yep.
Like they're baptized just because like, for me, it's because of like a spiritual reason, but like also because we're super Mexican. But like, I haven't taken any steps towards like, communion or anything like that, just because like my personal apprehension to that kind of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I like, and for many other reasons outside of just that, but also specifically that.
Yeah.
It's more. It's not always. It's not all of those people, but it's always those people.
Yeah. So I was lucky that my grandma, she raised us with when you're ready, you let me know.
Copy that. I like that.
She never forced it,
which is awesome.
Which is where how like my oldest a couple years ago, she was starting to ask a lot of questions about like the church and Jesus this, Jesus, because her friends were like Jesus this, Jesus that, whatever. And me and my wife both, we thankfully align with our atheist beliefs,
Sure.
And so when my daughter ask questions, like we're not like, no, like that, it's like we break it out for her, like this and this. But here social media again comes into play with these, Christian nationalists now.
Yeah, weirdos.
And it's just like, listen, like, so we try to,
heretics.
and we try to like be honest, that like, like a lot of the fucking wars are religious wars, because everybody believes in this and that, and and so this is why me and mom, or don't follow, these deities more or less,
This is who these people are. This is what they believe. This is how they believe it.
Yeah.
These are some of the pros and cons.
Yeah.
You decide.
Yeah. Especially my oldest, because she's the one that like asks the questions,
Yeah.
So like we live right next to a Planned Parenthood. There's always fucking kids, not kids, people out there,
Like protesting and whatnot.
especially fucking dudes who I most of the time just want to roll down the window. It's like,
Yeah, experts.
Fuck off.
Experts on the
Fuck
subject
the-
matter, by the way.
Fuck the right off, dude. Like don't even be here holding up any goddamn sign about
Yeah.
abortion this, abortion that. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I would never yell at that or feel that way towards a woman, the same thing, doing the same thing,
Yeah, I just don't participate in conversations I know nothing about.
basically, but my daughter will like, oh, what's this? What's that? So my wife will break it down to her, like,
Yeah.
okay, well, the church that you, blah, 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 like, well, the same people believe in this too, and so we try to be honest, because
Yeah.
we do want, our kids to have
some sense of spiritual grounding, but whatever that
to
looks
me,
like.
we want them to have a moral compass. We
Copy
want them
that.
to have good
Copy that.
morals. You know, I have an uncle who likes to tell me, you know, like you can't be a good person without faith or without God or without blah blah. And I'm just out on a fucking, you know, out trying to prove him wrong that you can be.
Word.
You know, not everybody's going to be a fucking Jeffrey Dahmer or whatever because they don't have God or whatever, or Rich Ramirez,
Word.
you know, just because whatever the beliefs outside of Christianity, you know, that people can be good people without this, you know, and,
Bro.
you know, so we're always trying to be honest with all that. We want our kids to still have that, that safety net in us to come with us with their own, you know, honesty or whatever. You know, even last night, my son was playing a Peppa Pig on his tablet, and I walk in his room, and he goes, you know, tucks it, trying to hide. I go, well, now I want to know what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
And
I don't know what the fuck was there, but
You know.
now I need to know.
Yeah.
You know, and so I try to tell him, like, River, we don't do that, you know? Like, you don't act like that. We're not here to keep secrets from each other, you know? Like, you're just playing a game.
Yeah.
You don't do that, you know?
Yeah, there's no need for that.
Yeah, you know, so we try to like really instill that. You know, we want that trust within
Word.
all of us. You know,
You want to maintain like this open door kind of policy, like where you're approachable, right? Like even though if it's something that I may disagree with,
Of
maybe
course.
even if it's something that you may think that I'm gonna be upset about.
Yeah.
Like I still want to cultivate this space where you feel safe and comfortable coming to me about it.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And know that you're loved, you know, in the process.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool. And I mean, like, I appreciate that because, I mean, as a person, like I said, of deep spiritual values, you know, of faith, you know, I'm also equally as deeply critical of like man-made institutions, you know, which is why I find myself, you know, a little bit weird about like the whole indoctrinating feeling
yeah,
behind that with my kids, but it is important to me, and what that looks like for them is not what is important to me is the fact that like, you know, that I can help them you know, find out what that looks like for them, you know, and meet them where they're at with it, you know, and then find those commonalities because I'm just like a nerd about it like that, you know. But yeah, for sure, dude. Like, cause, and you being like, one of the things that I think is pretty funny and interesting is you would strike me as so much more of someone that I would like be like, oh, I met this bro at church. He's like the awesomest guy ever. Just because of based on like how you roll, like your moral compass and your values.
Yeah.
Because I'm around a lot of different circles that I infiltrate
Mhm.
that are like Christians, you know,
Yeah.
and people of faith, you know, but like we'll say and agree with and do things that are just like, man, like that's kind of like I don't fuck with that, you know. And then
I like to think my moral compass is much better than most Christians
for sure,
because I actively, even though I don't really like people, I don't write them off.
Word.
You know, I will always give them some sort of chance, you know, like, you know, I more or less love my neighbor.
Word.
You know?
Yeah. No, I love my neighbor. Don't get me wrong. But like, we are all human beings and we're all animals. And I was always raised to, you know, you don't approach strange animals.
Yeah.
You know, like you just shouldn't because, you know, you just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if I see someone on the street that like, you know, is,
it's
you
like
know,
it's a need,
dancing in a not fun manner, you know, like a zombie or whatever. Okay. And I, you know, no, I'm not going to.
For sure. But like, you know, if someone's asking me for, you know, for food because they're hungry, what am I going to say? Fuck you, junkie. You know what I mean? Like, no, you know?
Yeah.
And those are the types of values that I think are important for me to model, you know, regardless of what, like.
Dude, my militancy and straight edge kind of makes it hard to go with that. Go down that route. You know? Because
Gabe X comes out.
Oh, dude, I very much have a you made your bed, go lay in it.
Copy that.
Mentality.
Copy
you know, like I will do enough until it's, you know, you've you know, extorted me out of all of it. You know, because,
word.
You know, I can't.
It's a choice that both of you are making.
Yeah. Well, one, because I was raised, you know, in a very druggy house.
Word.
You know, so I have a lot of like
resentment about it.
You know, so to me, it's
Copy
just
that.
like, you know, I will do as much as I can until, and if you're not going to help yourself, then I can't, you know, I can't deal with you. Like,
Yeah.
just cannot.
Can't
do it.
enable you anymore.
Fuck no, dude.
No,
I won't enable them. Yeah.
I for sure, like, if it's somebody that I know or somebody I've seen around a while, and I feel like you're just kind of taking like advantage of my kindness at this point. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, you know, immoral to, like, you know, establish your boundaries as a person too.
Yeah.
You know, but like more so if, like, you know, I don't know this person, I don't know what their story is, but like they're telling me they're hungry, I'm gonna take them at their word and I'm gonna buy them food, because that just seems like the nice person thing to do. Because like I have to go home and like go to bed and then think like, I wonder if they like starved.
Well,
You know?
and that's where my lack of empathy really kicks in, because I just ignore it and I just go to sleep fine anyway. You know,
Yeah.
it's yeah, you know, it could be a blessing and a curse, you know, for the most part. But for the most part, if, you know, someone's holding a sign up, you know, hungry, give me anything,
Anything helps.
I'm more, I'll probably just walk by.
For sure.
It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
So here we go, social media again. You know, are you though? Where's your van? Where's your car at? You know,
No, dude.
you don't
No.
know, dude. I see some girl at a Target by my house. She sits in the back of her car with all this clothes, and it's just like anything helps. It's like,
And then then you have those instances of the people that are like, I know that when I was living in Moval, dude, like there was like young kids, maybe like high school or maybe like, you know, early 20s or whatever. They would hang out in like the intersection, I believe like Day Street and whatever, and they would have like signs and approach cars in the intersection collecting money for
funerals,
right?
they're scams.
Yeah, but they're scams.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you just because you know, for real, and you don't know who to trust. You know, like you know, so it's kind of like you know, enter at your own risk kind of scenario.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like everybody has their own reasons and their own, you know, feelings towards it. And like I don't shame nobody
Yeah.
for nothing. All I'm just saying is like in the moment when I exist in that moment, there's like this like, oh shit, what do I do? And then like I go with like just the thing that just feels right, you know.
Yeah.
And if the thing that feels right is to just kind of walk away, then I'm sorry, bro, but nah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm just always trying to be nice. You
Yeah.
know, like I'm not trying to fucking.
I'm not gonna kick nobody while they're down.
Yeah, I mean, and even like, you know, like again, like I have friends, you know, I made friends that with, you know, random ladies and shit at Target, you know, and that's just from conversations, you know,
Right.
like we're always here, like, and then you finally spark a conversation, and it's just kind of like first it starts out with like, yeah, let's put on a smile and whatever, until it just blossoms into like, you know what, like this fucking person's awesome,
Yeah.
you know, and like so like I, you know, like I. In that sense, I give the people time and day, and I try to just be considerate. Yes, dude, like me in a drive-through, I'm the most considerate person.
Same.
I'm like, I'm not trying to hold up the fucking line.
Same.
You know, it's like I'm just trying to fucking make it easy for everybody.
Like
right now.
they don't want to talk to me. They don't want to be behind me. I don't want to talk to nobody and be in front of no one or be behind no one. Like let's just all just make
Yeah.
it cool and just be nice and kind and just get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
So you go to Target a lot?
Oh, every day.
Oh, dude. So what is the most unpunk suburban parent thing that you secretly love? Is going to Target all the time one of them?
Or having Disney season passes, I guess.
Yeah.
Dude, I went to, as a kid, me and my wife can both agree on this. Like, we went to Disneyland like one time as kids.
No
and
shit.
now that, you know, we have, you know, been able to, you know, create this, you know, this, I don't want to say well-off life, but we, you know, we have a comfortable life and we can afford these season passes for all 5 kids.
Yeah.
To me, one is like supporting Disneyland is like so like not punk. you
Yeah,
know?
they I think I've done the math in the past and it's sometime has passed since then, but they make like an upwards of like almost like $9 million a day.
Yeah.
You know?
Damn.
Yeah. Like
But
from the Disneyland alone.
But I also buy Starbucks every day, and we know where their
Yeah.
money fucking
Yeah,
goes.
word.
So it's like, you know, like shit like that, you know.
I feel that.
You know, but like I'm not a coffee drinker. I don't like, there's not a lot of places that make green tea how I like it in the size that Starbucks has.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, like
And if anybody knows anything about like having your own life, having a whole household, and one of those people plays baseball, like you don't have enough time to measure out the green tea the way you want and the way you like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm privileged that I can afford to get a green tea every day. We could have my kids in some sort of activity. My daughter's in dance, my son's in baseball, or my youngest wants to be in dance or baseball. She hasn't decided yet, but she's coming to that age where she's going to start school next. Then she can start doing all the activities and shit like that. So yeah, I mean, but I also, me and my wife, we grew up poor as fuck, like as far as we're concerned, like we earned this shit, it's like, I don't know. I don't.
No, I feel that. I feel that.
I don't suck myself into a lot of the punk ethics, and I can't back a lot of the punk ethics with, these people who are out getting drunk and supporting big corporations anyways, smoking Marlboros and buying Budweisers and whatever the fuck, like the fuck out of here with your, I'm not punk because I go to Starbucks and we're, all our money are going to the same fucking place.
Yeah, everybody to some degree is like throwing stones while living in a glass house.
Yeah, it's like I always like to say, I'm more punk than punks because I don't support those big corporations, but I do buy Starbucks.
No, dude. I mean, it's difficult when you have like a family. If I was by myself, it'd be easy for me to kind of just like abstain from certain things.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
But like having a family, like like say my daughter, right? Like for Spotify, she needs to be able to have access to that, and because it's a part of like her STEM, routine, and I know that I could let her do that shit for free, right?
Yeah.
But then like now she has to be like exposed to like these ice ads.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's kind of like.
I was gonna say now you can get people to be like, well, why isn't it gonna be Spotify? There's Apple Music. Their money doesn't go to you know.
But I mean, it's just like for me, it's like
I use Apple Music.
For me, it's doing.
I'm on the right side of history.
Oh wait, the same company that has the nets at the bottom of their skyscrapers, like to catch people who like who unalive themselves. Yeah. No, dude, like it's doing what you can, right? It's doing what you can with what you got, right? Like that, and that I think is what makes someone like doing their part as far as I'm concerned. Like everybody's life and shit is different. What you can with what you got. So. First mosh pit or first diaper? Which was scarier?
Oh, dude, the first diaper, man. Changing my daughter's diaper because they poop out the black.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I forgot what it's called, but it's like the placenta. I guess, that they poop out or whatever. Oh my god, man! Like, I mean, we had a friend that's like a family friend of ours. This guy Marv. He was visiting. This was already after every like a day later or whatever. He comes in to visit. He brought us like food and shit, but the time came to change the diaper, and it was like, oh, like 'cause my wife was stitched up in bed or whatever, and she's like, yeah, like you do it or whatever, and man, that was, if anything, is probably almost as scary, but the only thing that's scarier is just how thin and the baby, it's a fucking baby,
and there's so much you don't know.
Picking up both the legs was like kind of like scary for me.
You're like, dang, this thing is so like
so fragile.
Yeah, you think but the doctors come like, oh yeah, they're real resilient, like it's fine.
They're super durable, and you're like, this durable, fucking like thing,
So, but my friend Marv was, Marv was like, oh yeah, you just do this, blah blah. I was like, okay, and I go and do it, and it's just like, all right, well, diaper one down, but I mean, even the first pit, I think it probably wasn't as, I couldn't even tell what my first mosh pit was or whatever.
But you remember the first diaper change?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, so it was more meaningful, huh?
100%. Got it,
dude.
Yeah, but it was scary only because of you think the baby's gonna break when you pick up the leg.
Yeah, yeah, and then also like when you see like the quality of the poop, you're like, oh shit, like is this normal
yeah.
or
Yeah,
like
100%.
how at what point do I get concerned? You know?
Yeah. And again, you go in with this advice in the back in your head, and you're like, wait, no one told me it's gonna be black poop.
It's gonna be black, you know, like yeah, exactly. Basement show, Little League opening day, or a quiet Saturday morning.
I would never turn down my son's, or my kids' games.
Word.
I would figure out a way to make it work. So if I'm cheating here because I've had to do it, it would be a basement show and the Little League game.
Hell yeah.
But I would be at the Little League game as long as I could.
Yeah.
Until it was like, if
you'll make concessions at the show because Little League.
Yeah. Like let's say we're recording our full length right now, and one of the sessions fell on my son's baseball game, and I just me and my wife discussed it, and I was like, like she goes, well, you're not gonna miss it, and I go, well, no, but let's just do this instead. And then we worked out I'll be there until I have to be at the studio, and then so I got to watch half the game and then I left, but for most part I will not be at one of my kids' games. I'll figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah, I'll try. Like it depends, I mean, at this point, because we've been playing for a while, I'll make a decision, but it's kind of the same, my priority definitely is, but like if I had to pick one, like, what is the most satisfying, if my fantasy booking for like a day, it would be Little League opening day, dude. It would be hard for me to kind of like basement show.
I imagine like a Hook, the movie Hook.
Yeah.
When
that's my favorite movie.
He's playing baseball and Robert Williams isn't in a seat, and he's just like, all right.
Yeah, with the Santa series, yeah. Yeah,
I don't want to be that.
Yeah,
bro. I don't want to be that Robin Williams. I want to stay a kid forever.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try my damn hardest to at least be there, when my son's playing the fucking
Yeah, one of the other things that stood out to me as a very young child, like 4 or 5 years old, is from that movie, is when they're making jokes about him when he's leaving and he's getting on the airplane, and he obviously has anxiety, and they're like, oh, don't let your arms get tired, and he's like, what if it's the pilot's time to go? Like, and then the elevator closes, that always stuck with me, dude. So like every time I get on an airplane, I'm just like, man, what's the time? What if it's the pilot's time to go? Fuck.
Yeah.
Like why? Well, fuck that movie. I hate that movie. So catching strays inside the pit or waiting at the school pickup line.
Oh, waiting at the school.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. I mean,
especially because I gave up moshing.
Yeah,
and all this shit.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, and all the other parents are like, but like I'm not at the risk of getting my nose broken.
No, no. I no. We're talking about even then, it'd always be fucking just waiting
in the line. Yeah,
I'll go to a show late, even now, dude. Well, the rule was if there was a show on like a school night, like on a Friday or whatever, a weeknight, I would go after I put the kids to sleep.
Oh, word.
So, I again try to keep the kids a priority. There would be little exceptions, like I can't miss the opening fucking band. Like it's a Friends band, and I told them, I'll be there, whatever. But for the most part, it was put the kids to sleep, go to the show.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Thanks to my wife for negotiating that.
Yeah, no, dude. But whatever works.
Her compromising,
Yeah. So what do you think are the most like punk lunchbox or snack bag items?
Most punk or snack bag item? Man, I don't even know.
Do you have any examples, Jose?
Do I have any examples? No. I was trying to hear, honestly, like other people's movie thoughts.
Dude, a 40 or what?
I would say at least a snack thing, because the schools ask us not to send it.
Yeah.
Spicy chips, dude.
Yeah, dude.
My kids love Takis. They love Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
That's what's up.
But But the schools do ask, yo, if you can, please refrain from trying to sending your kids to school with spicy chips because it upsets the tummies, And it's just like, what do you want? Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Okay, Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Here you go. Like
yeah. Like we're not allowed to have at our district. We're not allowed to send like things or whatever just because of they have like this nutritional like commitment. So like we can do like to go baggies for birthday parties for our kids that the kids can take home.
Yeah.
But you can't send like do pizza. You can't do
like anything that's not wrapped.
Cupcakes and stuff like
like open. You can't. It can't be open. It has to be all sealed and shit. Now.
Yeah. So for that. See, for me, that'd be like I'd be like, if I can't send a motherfucking pizza.
See, kids can be kids,
dude. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. All right. See, I knew that was a good question. You guys scared me for a second.
Soon they're gonna wipe out the 5-second rule.
Yeah, dude. Pussies. Best touring van skill that translates to parenting best practices.
Oh, changing tires, dude.
Hell yeah.
That's it. Hey, dude, the amount of like blown tires that I learned to change is just I now because I can afford not to, I don't do it. But if I had to, like flat tire in my fucking driveway, like I would know how to swap that out,
Bomb.
No problem. Even the fucking rear tires, I could remove the drums and all this shit, from the brakes because my stepdad taught me that. But for the most part, changing tires and stuff like that, for sure, or
the Tetris.
I was just gonna say Tetris.
The Tetris, dude.
Yeah.
Especially when you have multiple kids and you have to go to like a tournament, you know what I mean? And like you got like this person's backpack, this like whatever this.
Oh, dude, wagons.
All that. But, well, you saw that motherfucker sitting out right here when you're waiting. Yeah, dude, it's a thing. Yeah. And like if you don't there's amazing things you can do with this little bit of space and like a bunch of shit if you have the right experience,
Yeah, you know who was really great was Mitch from Suicide Silence. When we would tour, man, he would literally break his fucking back.
Hell yeah.
Figuring out how to fill in every little fucking space in the back of a trailer.
Yeah, dude. Where you can't even fit like a piece of paper between like items.
Yeah. It's like our own like little personal like Cusco,
Yeah.
You can't slide in a fucking piece of paper, dude.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Oh, dude. See that was the one that came to mind for me.
Yeah.
So what are your top 5 records that you would want to leave for your kids?
Oh man. Well, it's always it's
like from your collection.
Yeah, so it'll probably be some sort of Beatles album, probably Magical Mystery Tour because
I love that choice.
Because the Full on the Hill to me as a teenager for whatever reason just really fucking hit.
Is that the one Octopus Garden?
No, that's
Sergeant Pepper. Or Sergeant Pepper's. Maybe.
No, Yellow Submarine, I think, is Yellow Submarine.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
Or Octopus Garden is Abbey Road.
It's one of those. That's a good kid song. That's what I thought. Maybe.
Yeah, but regardless, any Beatles record,
is
a good one. But I used my Beatle collection. I used to collect Beatle records. When I went on that 2002 tour with Scars, I would go to record shops and just find any Beatle records that I already didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
A couple came back warped because they sat in the trailer, but.
Whack.
But man, like I actively used to collect Beatle records.
Bro, I have a warped ass fucking like first press of the original He Had It Coming for AC/DC, the 7-inch. Yeah, that shit's all warped.
Yeah.
Direct sunlight, bro.
It's bad getting records on tour because you can't cater to it the way you can.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
order that shit.
Yeah,
Dude,
so me and my wife, the first time we went to London, I went with the intention of like I'm finding a first press of a Crass record. I don't give a fuck which one it is, and I found Feeding, and I just went to a post office and mailed it back home. Like I wasn't even going to try to take it on the plane. Nothing.
I would have done the same fucking thing, dude.
Yeah. I had to carry it for a couple days, but when the minute I found a post office, I sent it back home. But yeah, I would leave my kids with probably a Magical Mystery. Nirvana in Utero.
Hell yeah, dude.
Cause that's just
I love that album.
And
Shout out to Reds, dude.
yeah,
That's a dope song.
dude. The whole album,
That whole album
front to
is so
back,
good. Yeah, dude.
even Heart Shaped Box.
Oh, dude, it's a great
as
song, dude.
Played out as it probably is,
Doesn't go in that other mix we talked about earlier.
not at all.
Yeah.
It's as good as a Wonderwall. It just never gets old.
Yeah.
It's just always fucking gonna hit. Than Michael Jackson, but probably more like his younger, like maybe
Off the
like
Wall.
maybe tomorrow. No, like maybe tomorrow, or one of his kid albums.
Got it.
Like has got to be there. Like I love his kid stuff.
Be there when you love me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
dude.
try it, dude.
I love his kid stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Like not even like Jackson 5, like the actual like Michael Jackson.
Like Ben. Yeah.
Hits, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Ben fucking hits. Man, and then from there, that's when it just gets tricky because those are like, probably like Oasis, like Morning Glory.
Okay.
Mainly because my kids just already love
Already
it.
fuck with it, yeah.
Yeah. and then I guess at this point I'll probably even just say Cox Bar, Shock Troops, just because front to back banger, easy. I think that if my kids grew up, to adults, they would go like, Dad would play this all the fucking time for us.
Like the Beatles of punk in a way, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Especially that album, like it's all those main hits,
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure like I'll go home and I'll be like, oh man,
I should have said this one. I should have said that one.
Yeah, but like I think when I'm thinking for my kids,
Yeah, just like right now, like those are the things that stand out. Yeah.
yeah.
That's tight. I like that mix, I didn't know you're into the Beatles like that. That's dope.
Yeah, I love Beatles.
I really, I get the, people that throw shade on the Beatles, like, oh, it's overplayed
Fucking
and blah,
hate
blah,
it.
this and that.
There's worse
Like,
than people who hate Nirvana.
Bro, like, dude, the ones that are like the people who love Nirvana, but they hate on the Beatles. And I'm just like,
Fuck outta
man,
here.
fuck out of here, dude. Like, have you seen like the resting start and fucking like something, dude?
Dude.
Like, fuck you.
Dude, Kurt even says we just want it to be like a rock version of the Beatles, a punk version of the Beatles or whatever. A Beatles and Black Sabbath or something.
Yeah, mission accomplished. And
Dude.
Fucking posers. Who has harder breakdowns, right?
My kids.
Darasuum, Bound in Blood, or Toddlers?
Dude, my kids. dude, my youngest right now too, man. She doesn't put up with shit, man. If she doesn't get her way, it hits.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
I feel that. I feel that. My son is very much like, chill and, can express himself a little bit easier.
Yeah.
My daughter's the one who's, it's like it's like a whole on alarms go off kind of thing.
Yeah, I think my daughter kind of inherited my temperament and
Same.
And
My wife tells me, she's like, she's you, and I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah, that's my wife. Yeah, she gets up from me. She goes, but yeah, my youngest for sure. My son is really, really, he's good at holding back. Like he will have like an internal breakdown,
Yeah.
But my youngest, dude, when anything she has in her hand, fucking, it's out of her hand the minute she's pissed off.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely harder breakdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say though, Bound in Blood and Darasuum have pretty hard breakdowns.
Yeah. Well, dude, and it's funny because the newer Darasuum stuff is it's my drummer who wrote a lot of it. He really aimed to like make the newer stuff a little bit more punchier. So I think Bound in Blood is its early infant days. 2002, 2003. It would please those kids then. But when I listen to it now, it doesn't hit. I'm sure if we were to track it all, remix and remaster, it'll probably hit better. But because it is what it is,
I mean, I feel like everybody like looks back on their old shit like that.
Yeah. I mean that first Bound in Blood just wasn't mixed or mastered at all.
Yeah,
zero. It was just record, put on a CD, and sent off. Yeah. So with Darasuum, it's a lot more. We could kind of like lay out everything a little bit easier, and we're doing it ourselves too. So
that's dope.
Yeah, so we're able to really give it a lot of time and attention to like
and a personal touch.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a struggle because we do it ourselves. Now we have to align schedules to, you know,
Track certain things here and there.
yes,
Yeah.
you know, so that's just another moving piece of it all. But yeah,
I mean, and like, I mean, I'm not sure what everybody else in your band's got going on, but I imagine you're not the only one that has kids or a family.
my bass player and my one of my guitar players have kids too.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Hit 'Em Where It Hurts. Like, you know, there's only 3 of us, but it's hard to
Yeah.
get together because all 3 of us have a career.
Yeah.
All 3 of us have families. you
Yeah.
know, and it's just, you know, the way that some things take precedent in your life.
Yeah, like my bass player, more or less, he's kind of turning into our backup bass player at this point because he's just so busy with his work. He does a lot of construction stuff, so he's always out in LA. Then he has to drive from LA back home to Canyon Lake, else,
Yikes.
you know.
Oh, damn.
So and then he deals with his kids and their activities.
And then he has to take the ring to Mount Doom.
You know, yeah.
Sorry, I have to
Yeah.
fit one in into every episode, man,
Yeah.
as best as I can.
You know, and then him having to squeeze in a practice or a show or something. To him, it's just like, dude, I'm so fucking exhausted. And it's just like, cool. Well,
I feel that.
you know, we have all these like reserves now. Like we have like dudes from Big Ass Truck or God Awful, and
Dope.
you know, as like reserves now from like when we have these shows and shit. But
That's good. That's good.
yeah.
Well, I hope like at the end of it, like it you know, like it's gratifying in that sense, you know,
Yeah,
where
well-
it's like, even though it was more of a marathon than a sprint, you
Yeah.
know, and it took like a little bit more to get there
you
than
know,
maybe anticipated.
in the words of Sebastian Bach, and I try to, you know, relay this to my wife, you know, that ultimately whether this record and this could, you know, resonate with any band, dude, in general, you know, that these releases realistically are our legacy, you know.
Yeah.
Like this is, you know, we'll die.
Yes.
You know, look at the amount of like Herb Albert fucking albums you see, you know, or Don Ho, you know, like these dudes are fucking long gone, dude, and their records are just circulating in all these thrift stores, antique shops, and you know, all these records, vinyl, CDs, they're going to, you know, if they're not burned up in a fire or some shit, you know, of course, like they're gonna outlive
100%.
all of us,
100%.
you know. And when I'm dead and gone, like, you know, Suicide Silence, you know, like if I feel like listening, hearing Mitch, you know, talk or whatever, I don't watch him on videos, but I'll put on a Suicide Silence album and I'll just fucking listen. It's like, fuck, man, like I miss his voice type thing, you know. This, you know, these albums and these releases are what are going to be left behind once I'm gone.
I
you
feel
know?
that.
So I try to tell my band and shit, like, dude, like the longer we sit on songs and releases and whatever, you know, like
The more time we're wasting.
we're only fucking up what we leave behind,
Right.
you know.
I agree.
At the end of the day, you know.
I agree.
So, yeah, I'm just hoping that you know, I'll throw a Darasuum record in the mix of a record I leave behind for my kids, because that's their way of being able to fucking hear dad, you know,
Yeah.
be doing dad things, you know.
So, in closing, right? What would be like? Do you have any shout out, or maybe like a little tidbit or a little bit of something that maybe you've learned along the way that kind of helped you in any way, like as far as like parenting goes, you know, that you think is something that ought to be shared with others?
Probably not, only because, you know, like I said earlier, everything that was, you know, advised to me, or, you know, what to expect, it just wasn't my experience. And,
Yeah.
you know, if anything, it's really just to take the shit day by
Day by day.
and realize that, I guess the biggest thing, and I'm sure you'll agree, is, you know, because it's all over fucking social media, is that like it's never going to be this way forever. And, you know, take pictures. You know, I'm terrible at it.
Oh, dude.
I started off really good.
And videos.
I started off really fucking good with my first daughter, and I gradually got worse as I had more kids. That, you know, and I'm trying to get back into it. I pulled out my camera out of my, you know, cabinet and shit like that. I'm trying to get better at taking pictures and, you know, documenting. And it sucks because I like to document the scene and, you know, whatever the fuck, but I'm terrible at documenting my own life and getting those pictures of me and my kids, and, you know, and that's, I guess, if there's really anything, that's the most important part, is to document as much as you can. If you have to get yourself a new fucking 2 terabyte hard drive just to transfer it all off your computers,
Your
and
phone.
whatever your phones
I mean, phones are like magnificent devices,
you know,
for that.
just fucking figure out a way to just document it all.
I agree.
Because, you know, there's not a lot of pictures, you know, of me as a baby, as a kid, because at that point, you know, it's point and shoot type shit. But, you know, that's one thing that I'm trying again to get better at, is daily pictures of my kids,
candid stuff,
and trying to enjoy. You know, I'm trying to not get sucked into my own temperament with things, and I hope I'm trying to do a better job at controlling my anger and just trying to enjoy the moments of the chaos and, you know, the shit that my kids do that not bother me,
or not let the pressures of the world around you that you can't control, you know, that kind of contribute to like your baseline pissed offness, you know, like, you know, like
like a frustrating day at work. I'm trying not to carry that over into you know,
and have it be like, now I'm not the emotionally unavailable person. You know what I mean? I feel that, you know, like slowing down, right?
Yeah,
and taking that moment, you know, maybe whatever it be, like a routine or something, I suppose, that you do. That's a non-negotiable for you and everyone else in the house, you know, so that way that when you are ready to, you know, switch that gear, you know, like. For me, I like to come home, smoke a doobie, and then I go inside, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, there's not a whole lot that's gonna stress me out, like in real time now, you know. But for others, it can be like, do a quick exercise, you know, like on their bike, whatever, or do a lap around the neighborhood, or whatever have you.
And obviously, you know, what can be more important as well for the parents is to keep dating. You know, make some sort of time and day for yourself. You know, me and my wife have reserved like Fridays for our date nights. So like, you know, if a band, you know, will message me, hey man, we're playing Friday at wherever, and it's like, dude, like, I'll try to be there, but chances are it'll be like,
if things don't work out with the thing that I do on Fridays, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm busy.
I let everybody know Friday's my date night. Got it. You know, because I don't want it to be down the road. They're like inviting me out again on Friday, you know, for a show, because I want everybody to know. In general, I'd rather be known that, Gabe and his wife go out on dates on Friday nights, you know?
I like that.
And, you know, I feel like that's really what it keeps things fresh for her and I. But, you know, we could also, you know, let go as well and just be like, hey, man, like, how funny was it when the kids were this, how, you know, like, and then we could really reflect back on like, it wasn't so bad. It was actually kind of a funny time. And you know, we could just really like let loose with all that shit. But I, you know, I coming from, you know, conversations I've had even within the past like month or two, you know, realizing how many couples don't make time for themselves because they're going parenting 110%.
Yep.
You know,
or circumstances have them having to just like work a lot of jobs and just,
or they don't have, you know, like I'm lucky I have my mom that is willing to be like, hey, drop him off. Grandma wants him, you know?
Yeah. See, that's not a luxury I have.
You know
what I mean? I'm a lot of doing it on my own.
Yeah. There we go. You know, so not everyone has that privilege of having a parent willing to help, you know? And, me and my wife have my mom that is willing. Me and my wife, you know, don't take it every weekend. Like we just went out with the kids on Friday night and shit. We made it an entire, you know, we went batting cages and all that shit. But like, you know, we made it a day with the family. But, you know, we do try to keep having our date nights, and you know, we could get the kids back, and we're just like, you know, we're in a new headspace again, and you know, we don't think this, you know, whatever was frustrating us with the kids this past week, it wasn't that bad after all.
Yeah.
You know, and because we know it's not going to be this way forever, and we got to just enjoy the bit of chaos that they bring.
I like
daily.
that. I like that because it's kind of saying like, you know, show yourself grace in a way. You
Mhm.
know, don't be too hard on yourself about, you know, those moments, because you know they're like everybody's growing together.
Yeah.
You know, and
100%.
you're as long as you incorporate like these elements to your overall dynamic,
Mhm.
that's you know, keeping like your headspace
Yeah.
in the right place so you could show up for your family in that way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's important, you know, like for me, it would be like, you know, like 100% like the whole, like showing yourself grace thing, you know, cause we're all people, dude, you know,
Mhm.
and I get the sentimentality of like, oh, you know, my kids come first. I get that. But I also think like, you know, when you're on an airplane, and then when they give you the instructions about like the oxygen mask dropping,
Yeah.
and then they tell you they advise
You
you
do
to
it
put
first
you do it
before
first,
anyone else. Yeah.
right? I feel like that I don't know. That's kind of a good metaphor for a lot of the things that I feel like I've been on lately. You know, because you can get too sucked into that.
Yeah.
You know, and forget about like you and what you're just like what brought you here in the first place.
People get stuck in selflessness, you know.
Yeah.
And they forget that it is okay. And I probably suffer a little bit worse than others, but it's okay to be selfish, you know, a little bit as well, you
Yeah.
know. And again, I do suffer worse with that because there's a lot of times where I just want to be away. I want to stay in my office
Yeah.
and listen to a record or finish, you know, a project I'm doing with, you know, with the band or for a band, you know, like
Yeah.
merch design that I do or some shit.
Yeah, like regardless of what people be posting on their fucking Instagram stories and shit all damn day about, like, you know,
Instagram's fake.
Yeah, they're like what their life looks like and stuff. Like at the end of the day, like, yes, everybody likes to shout from the mountaintop, like, you know, the fun they're having as a parent, you know, but at the end of the day, like, it also matters that I have like my shit too, you know, and my
Mhm.
space to do, you know, where I get to engage in who I am, because that's the whole purpose as to why this ever occurred in the first place. You know, it was who I am and what I do,
Yeah.
and who you are and what you do brought us together, and we created this family together.
Yeah.
Why forget about that?
Yeah.
Like
You know?
it was a key ingredient for this in
Yeah.
the first place.
Yeah.
You know, you ought to give that the same type of attention as you do like the kids.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I mean, for me, it's spending my alone time when I got to like recoup, or, you know, committing to like doing like band shit. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't present a problem with me being able to show up for baseball, for award ceremonies,
Yeah.
for graduation walks. You know,
Yeah.
and yeah, I
Like
mean,
those milestone moments, you know?
yeah, you know, it's I don't look like much, but I got it where it counts, you know?
Yeah, you know, and yeah, dude, and I've been there for every single bit of my kids' milestones. You know, I've not missed a fucking thing.
Yeah.
All their first walks, took them, you know, all their first fucking dentist visits. You know,
Mhm.
I've not missed a fucking thing. I was there for their first words. You know, so
Yeah, dude, I've had like criticisms of people saying like, man, like that dude's not even playing like D1. And it's like, I get that, you know, but like this is when it's fun
yeah,
for him. You know, this is when it's special. He's pretending and he's playing like how who doesn't want to be like around that?
Yeah.
You know, like he's so cute and awesome, and he's having so much fun, and like I just want that to be special for him. You know?
yeah,
Like before it gets fucking crazy and everyone's screaming at you and your future depends on it, you know?
yeah,
This to me is when it's enjoyable and I get to like be there for it, you know?
yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, I just like to know that I'm that my kids have this stability. You know, that
Word.
that they're not being raised with a dysfunctional family the way me and my wife were, you know. And again, that they both have mom and dad,
Mhm.
and that mom and dad are doing everything they can to be happy with the entire situation that we're in.
Yeah.
You know. And so Yeah, you know, like if we have to drop them off at grandma's house, you know, it's you got to realize at the end of the day, it's because that's what keeps us happy. Keeps,
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, that's what makes us work.
Yeah, but it keeps us ticking, you know.
Yeah,
Well, I appreciate you coming back on the podcast, dude.
always.
You know, I was looking forward to having a conversation like this with you, and you know, happy Father's Day, dude.
You as well.
Thanks, man.
Today's his Father's Day.
Yeah, you want to say Happy Father's Day?
Yeah, happy Father's Day.
Come here, say it in the microphone right here. Ready?
Happy Father's Day.